No.
Post the video.
It goes like to a new place now. Do you see it?
Huh?
It doesn't go on Raw or website. It's like on a different
I don't
place.
know. I was looking on Torah. On Torah, it's only audio.
Right, no, but it's all videos all over.
They don't
It's a different
take
place.
videos?
No,
Uh-huh.
but the video's up too.
Mm-hmm.
The video's up too. Just in a different place.
We should send out a link to the channel. I set up a channel.
Well, it's on the WhatsApp thing. It's there.
It's on their app too already? It's on the OU app also?
YU.
I'm sorry, the YU app?
Only audio. But in our WhatsApp group, so there's the audio and the video. I think.
Oh, so
Two different links.
YU Torah, it's only the audio also?
They only have audio.
You can also subscribe to a YouTube channel that every time the new one's posted, it'll send you an email. So I can send out that link.
Yeah, you should do that.
Okay. I want to go further in Yud Zayin, Parak Yud Zayin, but let's just do a little bit of a Chazar of Har Sinai, also because it's Erev Shavuos, and also because it's Nogei. And also we spoke on Shabbos, because that wasn't part of the this year, so I just want to get the Roshei Prokim here. And the Roshei Prokim are like this, that if you'll look at the whole story of Maimon Har Sinai, clear from the Psukim, what happened was, the chronology of it was that Klal Yisrael was standing B'tachti Sahar, at the bottom of the mountain. Moshe Rabbeinu was standing there with them. Moshe Rabbeinu was not on Har Sinai at this point. They were at the foot of Har Sinai. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu started to say Aseres HaDibros, and putting together all the different Chazal that we learned. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said the first two Dibros, Shtayim Zu Shamati, so the first two Dibros, and then I guess Klal Yisrael, or the elders of Klal Yisrael, were mafsik in the middle, and they said, we don't want to hear from Hashem, Pen Nomus, he may die, and we want to hear it from Moshe. So Moshe started to say, and he said the rest of the 8 Dibros. We learned the Medrash in Shir Shiurim says that in that Gufa they had Charata, no, they were missing that, hearing straight from Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu said, no, you can't hear it straight from Hashem, you have to wait till Mashiach comes. So we explained that, first of all, it's very significant that Moshe and Klal Yisrael were at the bottom of the har. This wasn't something that was coming from the hill. This was something that was all on the bottom of the mountain. And as the Rambam says in Moreh Nevuchim, it's not philosophically tenable to say that God spoke like we speak. That's not what it means. What it means is it was a nevuah. Everybody had a nevuah. So we were all prophets for the first 2 of the 10 commandments. Again, this was all like Ter Shebal Peh. Nothing was all the bottom of the mountain, Hashem speaking. We all received this huge prophecy. The Rambam says that when a Navi, receives a prophecy, so it's like a near-death experience. There's the Azea Kol Gufay, Rambam talks about, you start to shake. It's almost like some type of an epileptic feeling of getting nevuah. So they said Penamus, this is too hard. So Moshe Rabbeinu began to say. So Moshe Rabbeinu was a bigger prophet, and he was able to handle this nevuah. What we spoke about on Shabbos, I just want to say this over very quickly, is then Hashem said to Moshe, come up the mountain, Alei Alai Ahara, climb up the mountain, and I want to give you Shtei Avonim. And the Chumash says that Haluchais Ma'aseh Elokim Heim, Ava Michtav Michtav Elokim Heim. Everything came from Hashem. He gave them luchos. What was the purpose? That's what I explained on Shabbos. What was the purpose of this 10 commandments? First of all, what was the purpose of saying them? It's not the Torah, and it's just 10 mitzvahs. There's no kashrus in there. There's no. Second of all, like, why the stones? What were the stones for? Like, you come down with the sefer Torah, that makes more sense after 40 days and 40 nights. Maybe, what's shot in the stones? What were these stones for?
It was given already. It was given already.
It was given.
Most of it. No, it had been given already to Moshe. Most.
Yeah, so what they needed in stone. So I explained that if you look at the Psukim, it's very clear that this had nothing to do. There's nothing to do, but this was not that there's two parts to the whole event. One part is receiving the Torah. That's beautiful. Can't live without it. Another part was, not equally important, was that there's a bris. There's a covenant between Hashem and the Jewish people. This covenant started with Avram Avinu, Mantri Yitzchak, Yaakov. This was a bris Avram. Av is brisi, Yaakov Eskar. Av is brisi, Av is brisi Yitzchak. Av is brisi Avram. Right? That's Haaretz Eskar. It was a bris. A bris is a deal, a covenant. The pshat in the luchos were that a covenant is not bal peh. A covenant is not oral, a covenant is written. Not only is it written, but it's carved in stone. So the point of the shtei luchos habris was that Moshe Rabbeinu received, not just, this is what I said, now let's put it in writing, he received a edus, luchos edus, to the covenant, to the covenantal relationship between God and the people. And it says that right in the Chumash. It's not saying a chiddush. It says that before Moshe went up, Hashem said to the people, said to Moshe, tell the people, Atam mamlechas kohanim, v'goy kadosh. You are a nation of priests. You are a goy kadosh. Your job in this world is to bring Hashem into it. My job in this world is to make you into an eternal nation. This was the covenant.
It says the word brisi as well.
Yeah. The whole Torah was the bris. And the bris, by the way, interestingly, kept on getting expanded because right before Matan Torah, it says that V'nasan lahem sefer abris. What was that? So Rashi says everything that happened from Adam Arishon until Matan Torah. There was another sefer abris. Then the Aseret HaDibros, that was the real sign, Shnei Luchos Habris. When Moshe Rabbeinu came down from Har Sinai and he saw that they built the Egel, so now they messed up. The Jews messed up because we broke the covenant. So he broke the Luchos. The Luchos are not worth the stone that they're carved into. You broke your side. There's two sides to a covenant. So it's not about that they didn't have Avodah Zarah. Oh, I'm going to break the Luchos like a kas. It's not. That's not what it is. It's. There's a covenantal agreement. Ani l'doidi v'doidi li. You do your part. Right. Hashem says, "Na mircha hayom." I will make you into the summit. You'll make me into the summit. Atzam amirenu. It was all about the deal. So the breaking of the luchos was all about the deal. They didn't become exempt from keeping Torah at that time, or keeping the 10 Commandments. They have to keep everything, but they were eingekrochen because there was no bris. So once there's no bris, we become a nation like all the other nations. In the sense of eternity, Netzach Yisrael lo yishakir, we become a nation like every other nation. Nothing special about the Jewish people. So Moshe Rabbeinu went back up, and on Yom Kippur, Hashem said, "Salachti kidvarecha." Okay, and the bris is reinstated. So Yom Kippur is a day of forgiveness, but not just a forgiveness for our averos. It's a reinstatement or a reaffirmation of the bris and new luchos. But this time the luchos were with different parameters. It was so luchos ne luchos avon. Now you're going to have to do your part more. It's not going to just be handed to you on a golden platter. This is going to be your part more. You make the luchos. You make the luchos themselves became a ma'aseh shutafi. They became something which was partnered between Hashem and Moshe. Moshe brought the stones. I'll bring the writing, etc. So we have a new bris. It's interesting, by the way, that when we built the Mishkan in the desert, so luchos v'shivrei luchos v'nachem b'aranachas. That, in other words, that what it showed was that the pshat in Shuvah, which is going to get us into Parakut Zayin, when we did Shuvah and Hashem said Salachti Kid Varecha, it's not like it wasn't a new bris, Brit Chadasha. It was a reaffirmation. Chaim's good word. A reaffirmation of the original bris. So you have new luchos, but the old luchos are also still kaim. So luchos, so shivrei luchos, menachem, baranach. That's an important piece over here. It's also, what does it mean? It means to say that we are. The bris means not what we do; it's what we are. What we do is Torah. What we are is the bris. A bris mila you do on your basar. Bris is what we are. Torah is what we learn and what we do. So bris is much deeper, I believe, than Torah, and that's why the Gemara learns out from here such an unusual halacha that Talmud Chacham she'avad sheshachach talmudai. Talmud Chacham forgets everything he learns. Right? He's complete dementia. So you still have to give him kavod. Why? Because luchos v'shivrei luchos, he's the shivrei luchos. So the pshat is that, what does it mean? What kind of a drush? The pshat is there's an example, a living example of what's also important is not just what you know, but what you are. So this Talmud Chacham learned a lot of Torah. He is part of the bris. He's shivrei luchos, meaning it's already the atzmius shel Talmud Chacham. So therefore, that can never get lost. It can never get lost. By the way, just while I'm here, the Arizal explains that all these pieces of broken Ten Commandments flew all over the place. Pieces of stone all over the place, godly stone. So, okay, apparently Moshe Rabbeinu or the people, somebody picked them all up and put them into the Aron, and just let them lay around. You're not going to go find a piece of this in the if you take a like a jeep ride into the Sinai. You're not going to find these pieces of luchos. They picked them all up and they put them into the Aron Kodesh. It was kadosh. It was bad, so kadosh. But the Arizal says that this flying around of all of these stones, the picking up of these stones will take place throughout all the generations. And these are all the Balei Tshuva that are coming back. The stones, every stone that flew here and flew there and flew everywhere, and flew to Tibet and to California, all of these stones are all being picked up over all the generations, the Arizal says, and being put into the Aron Kodesh. This is like the until Mashiach comes, all these stones get picked up on a symbolic level. Malon Tzaitzis, that's what Malon Tzaitzis means, is the Arizal. But just to finish the point again, that when Moshe Rabbeinu was already at the end of his life, he gave brachas, he gave klolos, he blessed the people, he cursed the people. He didn't bless them, he didn't curse them. He said to them like this, he said, if you're going to keep the bris, so then you're going to go to Eretz Yisrael, you're going to have a miraculous existence, you're going to win wars miraculously, which we have done. One Jew is going to chase away 70 enemies. The agriculture is going to be such that you're going to green the desert. It's going to have gishmeichem be'itam, you're going to always have rain. Everything's going to be good. But it's not just a bracha. Everything's going to be good because I promised you there's a bris, there's a covenant here. And the covenant means that you will be an eternal people. And all the odds against you, you're still going to be. But if you don't keep the Torah, meaning you don't keep the bris, so now, okay, even if you're keeping Torah, but you're not keeping the bris, so now you're a nation like every other nation. So you'll last 100 years, 500 years, 1,000 years. The Roman Empire lasted a long time, but eventually it goes away. So, but if you're part of the covenant, you'll never go away. Netzach Yisrael lo yishakir. So Moshe Rabbeinu says to him, and the bris is only in Ba'aretz, Eretz Yisrael, Kisavei lo Aretz, that's part of the bris, as Ha'aretz Eskar. That Moshe Rabbeinu was telling them, I'm telling you now, and he wasn't just giving brachas and clothes, pulling out random mitzvahs and aver. He expanded on the bris. Kisavei el Ha'aretz. And those psukim, and Eila divrei habris. says Mefurish. These are the words of the bris, Asher Karas. So this was the bris of Arvus Mayav. This was called the bris Mayav, the bris Arvus Mayav. So it's all very, very clear, and it's also very clear that Moshe Rabbeinu understood that if he himself doesn't go into Eretz Yisrael, that means he's not part of the bris. Part of the Torah, obviously, he is the Torah, but he's not part of that bris. I have to go to Eretz Yisrael. Why aren't I part of the bris? So the eternity of Klal Yisrael, the Tikkun, the Mashiach, all of those things, that's all bris stuff. That's all bris stuff. So what we have from all this, just before I go any further, is that there's really two dinim. One din is that we learn Torah, we keep mitzvahs, we do, of course. The other din is we're Jews. Like you can't, like it's possible to keep everything, and you can, Akum Sheshavas Chayav Misa. A guy can keep Shabbos too, but he's Chayav Misa. You're not part of the bris. Like you're not allowed to do a bris milah on a guy. Usher. You're not allowed to do a bris milah on a guy, except for maybe to practice. You're not supposed to do a bris milah on a guy. Why? Because he's not part of the bris. What are you rolling somebody into the bris? Mishpatim Bal Yadom. Not allowed to teach Torah to and when we do Hagbah, so the Ramban says that's a kiyum to Hagbah every time we read the Torah. That's a kiyum of Baruch Asher Yakim sefer Torah. You're picking up the sefer Torah. What for? Nobody's learning it. You can hardly see it. You're running around, turning around in circles. This is the bris. What we're picking up is that we are Jews. We're Jews. We're part of this eternal people. That's what the bris is. Torah is what we learn. I think Shuas, by the way, is more a Yom Bris than a Yom Matan Torah. So it's not Matan Torah, but it's not the Yom Matan Torah. The Matan Torah was a process, and the Yom Kippur was a process. But the Bris was given with the Luchos, and even those Luchos that didn't last, they're still in the Aron Kodesh.
Really, I'm having trouble finding what's in the Bris that's not in the.
The bris is you're troubled because it's troubling. The bris was constantly expanded upon, but the Chazon Ish says the follows. This is helpful. The Chazon Ish says, and I think I mentioned this on Shabbos. I don't remember that. Why are some things written in the Chumash in the Sefer Torah and some things not? Like Torah Shabbal Peh. Why is it Torah Shabbal Peh, or why isn't it all Torah Shabbal Peh? Like, why is there an oral part of this? Why isn't it written? So the Chazon Ish says that what's written was an addendum to the bris. Nispach. What's not written is Torah. It could be derisive, but it's not part of the bris. So whatever's written in the Torah is part of the bris. It's probably true, by the way, with the Nevi'im also. Meaning, Nevi'im hayu b'Mitzrayim kiflaim ki yotze Mitzrayim, b'Yisrael kiflaim ki yotze Mitzrayim. Hundreds of thousands of Nevi'im. But there are certain nevuah, Yeshayahu, Yirmiyahu, probably not everything that they said, which is part of the bris. So what's Torah Shebiksav is part of the bris. Nafkamina is that if we don't keep this, we cease to exist as a people. So the whole Nevi'im is all about tshuva and the Geula, nothing else. It's all about the bris. That's a Nafkamina. Nafkamina is, are we violating the bris? We cease to exist.
And then we carry on. It's not like they're keeping the whole Torah as it's written. And we're only keeping the Torah the way we keep just because of the oral Torah.
Right.
So we're schlepping it in. So
they weren't in the bris to begin with. That's dumb. Christians also, some of them keep. For the Goyim, there was a different bris. By Noach, there was a bris of the Shavim Mitzvahs by Noach. They're not part of the bris. They can keep whatever they want. They can keep the whole Torah Shabbat also. It's just we know it's silly because we know that's not the pshat. But it's not a question of derisa derabbanan. This is the document. There might be an oral understanding that goes with the document, so that's the oral law. But there's no nafkamina l'maisa. In other words, of what you do. The only nafkamina is in what it is. Is it the bris? Is it not the bris? Now let's leave that all.
Lev Eben and Lev Basar. Could you explain that?
So let's go back to this. The idea of this is really how we thank you. This is really how we hook up to the Nefesh Hachaim here. They heard the nevuah, but they couldn't handle it. So what does that mean? Why couldn't they handle it? and this is really what we're talking about here, the end of Tezayin, the beginning of Yud Zayin, that as the words of Hashem come into this world, it's like they say, like with the pilot, the hardest part is landing, yeah? Everybody applauds at the landing. Even though the pilot told me that I don't know why they're applauding, it's all automatic gear anyway. So, okay. They're applauding the machine, the computer, what are they applauding? But okay, conventionally, this was the kunz. You go fly in the air for 15 hours, and that's not such a big trick like landing. So the Dvar Hashem, getting from the highest worlds, hitting the ground in this world is a very, very crash experience. It's a very difficult experience. And apparently, Moshe Rabbeinu was able to do it fully, and Klal Yisrael was not able to do it. And the reason was because it was too hard. Leiv ha'evan. You have to be able to open up your neshama, let's say, to that experience. Which I want to learn what that means. I'm not. But what it means is what the words are. In any case, the framework of it is that if we're talking about Torah, we're talking about Torah coming from the highest spiritual place and coming down into the world as we know it. So this is not a smooth transition necessarily. So you have to be holding. You have to have leiv basar, which we'll explain, in order for that to happen. But what we need to understand is nevuah. Nevuah is we're machalak between kol Moshe Daber Elikim Yanenu b'kol. So kol is it's coming. That's Hashem's part. Dibur is where I could take that energy of Hashem and articulate it into Dibur. Moshe Daber Elikim Yanenu b'kol. Everybody heard the kol shofar. Everybody heard the kolos brakim. We say it on Friday night. Kol Hashem Bahadar. Kol Hashem. What's Hashem there? Shofar Arozim Vayishavar Hashem Zarz Avonai. There's a lot of kolos, 7 kolos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kol Samei Chos Mekalo Zoich L'Chamisha kolos. Interesting. Yeah. Kol Sasem, Kol Simcha, Kol Chosem, Kol Kalo. These are kolos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zoich into the kolos. But to interpret that means that I'm taking it, I'm integrating it, and now I'm being able to articulate it. That's already Kol Gufay Mizdazeya, the Rambam says that the Navi would go into a coma. It's not an easy thing to be a Navi because you're that's a landing. That's where the transition is actually taking place. There's a transition taking place as it lands, and they weren't capable of that transition because of their problem with the lathe. So let's explain it more. That the Chiddush I want to say today, in the next 10 minutes, is that what we need to understand is by Matan Torah, by Nevuah, and for that matter every day, what's really happening is we're connecting from the kol and we're connecting it into this world. Or is the essence of also the bris, but the essence of prophecy, the essence of is being able to bring the Dvar Hashem into this world. That's what it's all about. That's what the Karbanos are about. That's what Mishkan's about. Beis HaMikdash is about. Shechina. Everything is all about that. It's all about taking. It's a very esoteric idea, but this is the essence of being Jewish. Mamash. The essence of being Jewish is not so much doing this, doing that, putting on tefillin. If you don't do that, it doesn't begin. Nothing begins. But it's all taking the Dvar Hashem and bringing it into this world. So Navi was able to do that. Torah Shabbat Peh, we can do it. That's what has to be done. Let's just learn one sentence here, and I just want to explain. In Pardes Zion, Reb Chaim Volozhin says, in the very Inyan, I want to explain the Inyan, Hiskashrus Hagimel Bechinas Naran Echad Bechavera. Who Yisoid Ve'ikar, Inyan Atshuva. What an amazing sentence. He said, I want to explain to you, I just, by the way, I'm saying this as if it's easy. I was like breaking my head over this. What does this mean? I want to explain to you the hiskashrus, that connection between nefesh, ruach, neshama, v'hu yisoid ve'ikar inyan tshuva, which is all what tshuva is. What is he even talking about? You would think he explains it further, but he doesn't. He just says that. So that's all we get from him. So what we learned in the past few prakim, was that nefesh, ruach, neshama. So Chazal give an example, a metaphor, to somebody blowing glass through a windpipe. So you have the guy who's blowing, right? You have the pipe, and then you have the glass. There's like three stages. The glass would be nefesh, the pipe is obviously ruach, the wind, and then neshama is where it's coming from. And the Nefesh Hachaim points out not to think that the neshama, that this person doesn't fly through the pipe and end up on the other end. It's his wind that's coming. So too, he explains, is the neshama. The neshama is sitting by Hashem. Our neshama is not necessarily here, the whole neshama. The neshama is sitting by Hashem. Vayipach ba'apav nishmas chayim. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu blew from this neshama into the person, so it's like the ruach went through the ruach, ended up in nefesh. Balatanya adds that the nefesh itself, the part that we have, the nefesh, has two parts to it. It has the nefesh habahamis and nefesh halikis. So the top part, if you will, I don't know if it's top bottom, I'm just saying to make it easier. The top part is elikis. Like it means, just review what it means, that being alive is not having a neshama, and having a neshama is not being alive. It's not. Rabbits are alive, trees are alive, squirrels are alive, lions, tigers, bears. They're all alive. They're all breathing. They're all, maybe talking is the distinction. But the being alive is not the point. The point is that first you're alive, and then that's nefesh habahamis. That's just living like an animal. Like an animal's alive, you're alive. So what? So we're alive. That's a miracle, but it's just dealing with our health and all this. That's creating a vessel for something bigger, which is the neshama to be able to accept it. Alive is good. It's important to be alive. That's a chashuv thing. Because if you're alive, so then you could be a vessel for. But ushmartem b'oides lafshoy seichem. That's the mitzvah. Shmir's hanefesh. You watch your health, and by watching your health and taking care of the body, now you can be a vessel for what's supposed to come into it. Or you cannot. You can just have nothing to do with what's coming into it. You can just be alive like a rabbit. So being alive itself is not unto itself just makes you into an animal. So it's just a biological phenomenon that we're alive. More intelligent being, but at the end of the day, we're just alive. But by hooking into the windpipe of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and being a receptacle for the neshama that is blowing into us, which will only blow loya mesim tahaloya. This can't happen if you're dead. It only happens if you're alive. So, but if you're alive, so now you have a possibility of being otherwise like you're just alive. Like you take like a light bulb. So a light bulb, but if it's not connected in, so nothing is happening. Like nothing's happening. Nothing is flowing. It's there. It's a light bulb. You pay money for it, but it's not there. Nothing is there. So when we talk about nefesh, ruach, neshama, Nefesh Hachaim explains Nefesh Hachaim. He explains over and over again that that's what we're taught. That's what's important to him to understand. That it's a hishtalshelus, or hiskashrus as he's calling it now. There's a hiskashrus, a connection, like a chain. So you have nefesh, ruach, neshama. Okay? And that's the way we should live. Going back to Har Sinai for a minute, if that was in perfect order, we would have been able to hear all the Ten Commandments. We would have heard the whole thing. Because then we're Kalim for the Devar Hashem. But being that it's like, the pipe is not completely aligned, so we're getting a little bit. We could hear too. It's not Moshe Rabbeinu is Baspak Lari Habir, perfectly connected. So the Nevuah is having, I'm just saying as a mashal, being perfectly connected to the piece on top of you. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. This is esoteric. Well, let's try to bring it literally down to earth, for a minute. Moshe Rabbeinu was connected. Klal Yisrael, we just got out of a couple weeks ago. We were slaves in Egypt. Like take it easy on us. We're not holding yet by hearing this kind, like having this kind of experience, nor were any of the great Nevi'im. They were Mizdazea Kol Gufo. It wasn't so simple to make this landing into the world. So that was the difference between the Nevuah of Moshe, the Nevuah of all the Nevi'im, and the Nevuah of Klal Yisrael. Yeah, so that was the big. How lined up were they? So says Nefesh Hachaim here, Nevira Inyan. Let's explain. Hiskashrus Hagimel B'chinos, tying up, or let's say hooking up, or let's say lining up the three parts, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Echad B'chaveroi. Need to understand who Yesod V'ikar Inyan Tshuva. That's what Tshuva is. So let's explain it. We're all hooked up, and then we do an Avera, Mechalel Shabbos. So what happens is like this. We've just here you have this mouthpiece, this oxygen piece, which is blowing. Vayipach ba'apav nishmas chayim. Hashem is blowing the neshama into us every second, and then when we go against it, we're like this because there's an instruction manual as to how to keep this connected.
Does it leak?
There's a leak, yeah. Misaligned so far. Let's talk about the leaks in a minute. But there is a misalignment. It's just not getting, like Moshe give us 100 examples of this from the physical world, right? It's just not getting not plugged in well. There's a bit of a short circuit. There's a who knows what. The pipe is stuffed up. There can be a lot of things. But the point is, you're not getting this energy. You don't necessarily feel it because you're alive, but you're really dead. Because from a spiritual point of view, Rishoyim b'chayehem nikroim mesim. That if you don't line yourself up with this, you're just not alive. That's called, by the way, kares. Kares means, he says here in Parak Yud Ches, that kares means that this part is not connected to this part. That's the cutoff punishment. It's not a punishment you did to yourself. Certain things like you don't do bris milah, you don't eat chametz on you eat chametz on Pesach, so you're misaligning the whole thing. What is tshuva, Imken? Tshuva is realigning. So it's not just so we talk about tshuva. We talk about you have to regret what you did, you have to accept the future, you have to say be doing. All true. Those are the tools of how to align it. But that's not the alignment. The alignment, the goal of everything, is to get back this energy. So you're flowing, you're living now a completely different way. There's even ways to get nevuah without doing this, like Bilam. You can get nevuah from an easy source. There's nothing to him. You could be on the chamar. You're still getting nevuah. But what we're trying to do here, and it's such an esoteric concept that it's so important. So I'm not sure why it's so esoteric, but it is. It's just so important for us to wrap our brains around this idea that if you want to be a frum Jew, the whole idea is to be able to align your life with the Hashem blew life into our nostrils. That's the whole thing. Otherwise, if you're over here, you're alive. You can even be a spiritual alive. You can even be a good person, right? I'm watching, like I had the great schus that in my machzan, so a cat had kittens. So, thank you. Yeah. It's an amazing thing, it's a cat. First of all, where the heck is the father? Completely right away, nowhere around. Where is he? Like, unbelievable. Mother cat is sitting there outside the machzan. Let me go look at this today. A whole day, a whole night, just guarding. Don't touch my kittens. just like looking. I looked through my kitchen window to see, and like we have a staring war, me and the mother. It's like crazy there. They don't even blink. This is a spiritual cat. It's not a spiritual cat. It's a cat. But this is Hashem put into the nature, into the bria, that a mother is a mother. I said to my granddaughter, I was showing her this, the kids, I said, a mother is a mother. This is natural. This is natural. This is not called hooking up or aligning. That's just natural. It's a natural thing. that this could be a Jew, a non-Jew, a cat. Doesn't make any difference. Nefesh Hachaim. Exactly right. So that's not called hooking up. Hooking up and realigning means that I'm living my life in the type of a way that I'm connected to above. I have to tell you one more thing. I told you about my cats. My cats. That's all my wife. Tell my wife, Zach, hunt and cuddle you. They're just going to become ugly and bothersome like every other cat. They're another cute little kid. But I was last week, Thursday, there wasn't a shiur. I had a meeting in Herzliya in the Sharon Hotel in the business lounge. And beautiful, overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. Beautiful. And a big sport, which you might know better than me, in this country, as is in LA, is kite surfing. So kite surfing is like really, really cool because there's big kites and hooked up with these ropes, and you hold onto the ropes tied around your waist, and then you're flying on a surfboard like 30, it looked to me like 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, and like just unbelievable. Even against the current, you're going. You're hooked up to the ruach, get it? Like the shot is that you could be windsurfing, then you're like just in the air. That's nice, but no kasher to the world. You can be water surfing. There's no kasher to the air. Or you could be kite surfing. It's just so. I thought to myself. I said to the people that I was with. I said like. The famous story of the Blazhev Rebbe. The Blazhev Rebbe was at some point in the Holocaust. So in order to escape from something, you have to jump over. There was like a big abyss, a big gigantic pit. It was maybe too far for a person to jump. So, 4 meters, 5 meters. You can't jump over this. Blazhev Rebbe was an old man. And he said, "Look, we have to jump. We have to jump. Let's take a chance. Normally you're going to fall right into this hole." And he jumped and he made it across. So the chassid is with him and is on the other side. He's afraid to jump. So, could I jump like the Rebbe jumped? So he said to him, "Look, if you're hooked up from on top, you don't fall down." So the story is that he threw him his gartel across the thing, and the chassid jumped too. I'm like kite surfing. It was like it was just so inspiring, just this idea that they're hooked up to the ruach, just like such an unbelievable thing. And they're like not clear. Are they flying? Are they surfing? Like, are they on the water? Are they not on the water? Sometimes yes, sometimes not. It's like something in between. There's this connection. I'm just saying a mashal. I'm not saying that those were particularly spiritual people on those surfboards, but can't judge them from the window. But one thing's for sure, they're strong people, because this is not as easy as it looks. As is in the world of spirituality, it's not as easy as it looks. So the idea is to be able to connect. So the idea of chas v'shalom kares or any avera is when you're cutting that rope, so you're not getting a kesher any longer to the ruach that's coming to you, and tshuva, the tremendous chiddush of tshuva that you see. Moshe Rabbeinu went back on Har Sinai in Yom Kippur, Salachti Kidvarecha, is this realignment. So maybe like a navi or even a tzaddik, when he's talking, I've seen this. I don't know if this is what it is, but I've seen old tzaddikim that they look like they're gonna just, maybe they're 90 or older, they just look like they're gonna fall over, like they hardly have go off to talk. And then they get up to give a shiur, and unbelievable, like they're talking in a full voice, they're jumping around, the shot is all of a sudden they're being hooked up to a higher source, and it's a completely different source of energy. It's fresh, it's Ranan, it's Asis, it's a whole new level of energy that you can have when you're hooked up to the top. So this is what tzaddikim, neviim. This is what prophecy is. Prophecy is being able to hook up that way and to make your life this way. And an avera is pulling away. So let me just tell you one other complicated thing here, and then we'll leave it till Thursday. See, when we daven, so if you look at these Kabbalah Sidurim, you ever see them? I want to know. So it says on the top what you're doing, like what's happening now, background information. So when you say like the brachas in the morning, so there's 4 worlds. So that's the world of Asiya. When you say Psukei Zimra, in the world of Yetzirah. When you say Kriya Shema and brachas, you say in the world of Bria, and then you get the world of Atzilus. Okay, so I explained this a dozen times, that Atzilus is the highest world, and when you're davening Shemona Esrei, Eitzel Hashem, you're standing in front of Hashem. That's what Shemona Esrei. You're working your way up from the world of Gashmias. So you're starting off and you're saying, whoa, I'm walking. Whoa, I'm breathing. Whoa, I'm seeing. Listen to the rooster crow. You're all this real physical stuff. Karbonos, very physical stuff. Then you get to Psukei Zimra. Psukei Zimra is like a segue into the next world. You're singing, music. It's already a different thing than just like, oh, I could see, I could sing. That's already a different level, a different talent. It's much more adid than Birchas HaShachar, Meshim Tzaddik Gaver, right? Asher Yotzar as Adam. That's base. It's good. You got to start somewhere. And then you go into the world of Bria, which is Kriya Shema, which you're enveloping your whole Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. There's nothing else but Hashem in that world. Bircha is Kriya Shema, Shema, and then you can finally stand in front of Hashem and say Shemona Esrei. That's the world of Atzilus. So in the Kabbalah Sidurim, okay, you are now entering from the world of Asiya to the world of Yetzirah to the world of Bria, standing in front of Atzilus. That's Shemona Esrei is Atzilus. And by the way, as I said a number of times, Rabbi Chaim says, Chazaras Hashatz is even higher. It's even higher than Atzilus, because there you're not even talking, just listening. Okay, more spiritual level. So here's what's interesting halachically. This is what I want to bring out here. That every time you change worlds, it's like the atmosphere, the stratosphere, or the troposphere. Like every time you change worlds, you say Kaddish. Right. In other words, you finish the first part, the brachas karbanos, you say Kaddish. You finish Yishtabach. Yishtabach belongs to Psukei Zimra. You say Kaddish. Some say Kaddish, Chassidim say Kaddish even before the whole thing. So Kaddish means that, why Kaddish is like the segue to another world. Yiskadal v'yiskadash Shnei Rabba, you're getting to a higher. You're being ma'ala yourself and Hashem making the connection. So this is the same connection that we're talking about here. It's interesting that not only you don't say Kaddish, the Arizal explains this, not only do you not say Kaddish between Shema and Shemona Esrei, which should be like the real one. Now, you are now entering into the world of Atzilus. Put your oxygen masks on. You're in the world of Atzilus. Not only you don't say Kaddish, but you're not allowed to be mafsik at all. Ben Gula L'Tfilah. Like that's like the worst place to talk, to be mafsik, even with Kaddish. Why? Because there's never, as Arizal explains, there's never a break between neshama and ruach. There's just a break between ruach and nefesh. There's a nefesh, ruach, neshama. There's no hefsek between Hashem and his ruach. He keeps blowing into the pipe. The problem is that we get misaligned. So whether you divide it into 3, divide it into 5, and it all works out, it all formulates exactly. But and even into the 10 spheros. But it's all the same thing. But what it comes down to is just different aspects of it. And what it comes down to is, where is the misalignment? It's not Ben Gula L'Tfilah. Because Ben Gula L'Tfilah, there's a constant connection. The words of the Zohar is that Atzilus and Bria, Rayim Zelazeh, Rayim, like Rayim Ahuvim, Rayim Zelazeh, they're inseparable. They're inseparable. So that's why, interesting, that's why you don't say a Kaddish. You think of the ultimate Kaddish. No, it's not a Kaddish. You don't say Kaddish between that and Chazar Sashatz either. Then you say Kaddish and you start your descent. Back to Tachanun, back to Psukei Zimra, Ashri Yavol Tzion, Aleinu L'Shabeach, which is back to the world of Bria, then finally back to Karbanis, Pitam Aktaris, Atzar Atzipar, and you're back to where you started from. So the whole davening is like this, but it's all about this. It's all about this connection that takes place, going up and then going down with like a pyramid, with the kadeshim in the middle. So it's a new understanding of Averis, and there's one line: a new understanding of Averis, a new understanding of tshuva. Because the new understanding of Averis is not, oh yeah, I did something wrong. It's a violation which causes a disconnect. You see, if let's say somebody violates their relationship with their wife, or their wife with their husband, so it's not just like, okay, you did something wrong. It's a disconnect, right? Everybody understands that, probably, right? Just disconnected. Boom. What happened? We can't even talk anymore. We're not connecting anymore. Like, it's a disconnect. If you're really bad, you get chorus. But what we're talking about in Avera is a disconnect, but then there's tshuva. And tshuva is a reconnect, or a realignment, where, once again, the Devar Hashem comes through us. And then we can be Zelcha to Matan Torah. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Good job.
So is chorus a physical thing, or chorus is like a...
There's different types, depending on how far.
Why does Marav want the Kaddish?
Why does Marav have Kaddish?
War of the Kaddish.
Because you're not climbing those worlds by Marav.